On Facebook family, some melodic elevation with RJ Hodges Speaks.
Yes, sir.
We thought we would come up with something today, impromptu. We'll talk about letting things go.
Letting things go. Why do we hold on to things that are no longer holding on to us?
Mm-hmm.
You know, something I thought about the other day. I think during this time I've had a lot of like let goes.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And I think most of the time when we say letting go, we think about like letting go of people.
Yeah.
You know, which we talk about that because that's a valid point. But I'm also, thinking about letting go of like ways of thinking, belief systems.
Woo!
You know what I mean? Perspectives, the way you see certain things, and basically anything that, again, is not holding on to you, which means like, anything that's like not serving you well currently.
I like how you put that, because that's a major point what I was going to bring up. How to gauge that, what it is like, is it really serving you or not?
Yeah.
Any longer. And if it's not, then you might want to think about letting it go.
Yeah, like what ways of thinking do you still hold on to because, maybe that's how your family thinks, or maybe that's how the people in your environment or where you grew up, that's how they think. But that way of thinking is not promoting you forward anymore. Right. But you still think like that. Why?
That's a good question, and I'm all for it. I'm glad we're having this because, again, I think it's something about us speaking and sharing our thoughts with one another and you all out here in the world, and us having that conversation that a lot of times we're not willing to face, not even within ourselves.
Yeah.
That's very important to our personal health. Right. With our relationship, most importantly, with ourselves, me, myself, and I, but then how you relate with others that you come in contact with every day.
Yeah, well, most definitely. And a lot of times I think that's a difficult question to ask yourself. It's a difficult question to ask yourself, and it's a difficult thing to be honest about. Like, what am I holding on to? What traditional things are in my life? Maybe it's religion. You know what I mean? Like, what traditional things am I holding on to? But it's not doing anything for me anymore. It's not getting me to where I want to be. It's not promoting me down the path that I want to be on. Right. But I'm still, for some odd reason, I can't let go of it. Like, why is that? And I think that's a difficult thing for us to kind of just put out there. You know what I mean? And to ask ourselves. So I'll ask you, man, like, what are some of the things that just come to mind for you that, whether it's a way of thinking, a perspective, a person, whatever, that you feel like, man, I've been holding on to this, but it's no longer holding on to me.
Okay. Well, one thing for me that's holding on, I think, all right, is ways of thinking for me.
Okay.
Well, we'll start off with ways of thinking. And one way of thinking that I'm letting go of, that I think is let go of me, here and there, like that. But I'm having my thing with procrastination and commitment. And I'm having to let go of being so spontaneous all the time and having to see that I need order and I have to make commitments in my life. And for me to make these commitments, when I brought up procrastination, I gotta have some order, or how can I put it, some milestones on how to get these things done. So I'm having to let go of the old way. My automatic was, a lot of times, honestly, was to ignore. And honestly, and I would say yes to things, but not thinking about how am I gonna get it done. But I just want to say yes, I want to help. But then not thinking about that, I just made a commitment, and how am I gonna stay committed to that commitment? Yeah. So that have been some of the things for me. Again, procrastinating, letting that go, and really I'm being forced, like what you resist, persist. So really I'm a man of integrity and a man of character, and I'm given multiple opportunities every day to be that person. Right. All right. So there's multiple times out the day for me not to procrastinate, but to be proactive and flex that muscle now. And I'm having to learn to do that. But that's something that I've been dealing with lately. Because I've been learning to let go of that old way of thinking of this. I'm becoming an observer of myself, and I'm able to see a lot now when I'm procrastinating, or when I'm just falling back and looking at a text and not answering, because that's what I'm used to doing. Right. No, answer the text. Stop ignoring stuff, bro. Right. Stop ignoring and move.
That's a good point. Action. Well, are you not? Because I know I do that, unfortunately. But are you, I don't talk to y'all. But are you not answering the text because maybe that's a person? Well,
sometimes it is, but really it's my automatic. It's really, I'm used to just bam, looking and then keeping it moving.
Okay.
Not taking action, procrastinating. Honestly, that's just a part of me that I'm letting go and I'm growing up from.
Okay.
So I'm looking at taking action a lot more and not ignoring. My automatic way of being a lot of times is to ignore. Yeah, I see it, but be in my head about it, or I recognize it, but then not taking action.
Not taking action. Okay. Do you think it comes from like the way you've been taught, or it's just like something you just adopted over the years, over time?
I think it was both.
Okay.
I definitely see where some of this come from my childhood with certain things and ways of being where I wasn't taking action in certain ways, and where I was very smart when I was young. And meaning when I grew up, most of the time I didn't do homework.
Okay.
And I think that developed a negative habit.
You one of them dudes that didn't have to study.
Didn't have to study, but then when I really needed to, I got lazy when it really comes out. Like right now, I'm studying for an exam and a test, and I talked about this at the last talk on my Wellness Wednesday. But it's been a challenge to me lately to take action. Hence why I got this tattoo right here, Carpe Diem, to seize the moment in the day and to really be in the now with that, because it's very serious with me. With procrastinating, just like ignoring things. So I gotta, stay on it. Right now.
Cool. That's good, man. I think for me, the biggest thing was staying within a box. Okay. And I think how I kind of grew up, or it might not be a result of what I was taught, but maybe just what I adopted was being safe. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like always taking the safe route. You know what I mean? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go this path because I know that this should produce this and this should produce that, and I'm gonna be real safe. And it wasn't until I started kind of getting around people that were accomplishing things that I wanted to accomplish, and I started to realize that, and I don't want people to take this the wrong way, but I say it to myself, you can't really be successful and safe at the same time, in the sense of like, you can't stay in your box and expand. You know what I mean?
Great.
You can't do that too. Yeah. So, for me, it was letting go of that, letting go of what's safe, and I gotta stay in this particular space, because not only because I had trained myself to be there, but also because I think that's what people expected of me. You know what I'm saying? People expected me to be safe and not do this or not step outside of that. And for the most part, I think, for the most people that I'm around, and I'm sure that you're around, we're progressive, meaning that we're always trying to move forward. You know what I mean? At least.
Very optimistic.
Right. But I think a lot of times we can't reach and connect to something ahead because we're holding on to something behind. Woo. You know what I'm saying? So it's difficult to connect to something new when you're so rooted in something old.
You got that baggage.
Yeah, you got that baggage. So a big part of me was learning to let go and disconnect of that way of thinking of, it's always got to be safe. It's always got to be a part of the normal, or it's always got to be a part of something that somebody else will understand. And I had to get comfortable with saying, I'm going to live my life in a way where if you don't understand it, that's okay with me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you don't get it, that's fine with me. If your perspective doesn't match my perspective,
come on, man,
that's okay with me. You know what I mean? It's okay. So I think it was getting to that point of letting go of that. And letting go some people in that process,
That's gonna have to happen. You got to do some pruning.
Yeah, you got to do some pruning. Yeah, definitely. And I think now that I understand that, like I let go of something recently that I had to tell myself, okay, if somebody's no longer holding on to you, why are you holding on to them? And I think a lot of times in those type situations, we waste time trying to hold on to somebody that's not reaching for us. Like, to me, if you're reaching for somebody, they should be reaching for you.
Correct. It should be simultaneous, or even exchange.
Right. So, I think to me, that's where the whole let go thing kind of came from in my mind. It was like, why do we hold on to this stuff? You know what I'm saying? Especially if it's not getting us to where we need to go.
Yeah. Awesome sauce. And really with me thinking about it too, it's when I thought about letting go, it made me think about, like, how can I say it, like trying to think of the specific example that I had, and I wrote it down. It made me think about just being in the moment, but like, but it was a specific thought that I wanted to share about it, man. How did I say? I'm gonna have to come back to it.
No, that's good.
Yeah, I have to come back to it.
But yeah, but you know, and I think sometimes, a lot of times, what we can't let go of, it limits us. You know what I'm saying? It limits our potential. It limits us going forward. It limits a lot of things, especially when you talk about ways of thinking, because I also look at ways of thinking as like belief systems. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times, we don't even question why we believe what we believe.
Blind submission, a lot of
people
learn.
We learn that. I mean, you gotta think, I always say, like, we come into the world with a blank canvas.
Correct.
Like, a lot of things that are the things about who we say we are, you can question that because it's not necessarily who you are, it's what someone programmed you to become.
Yep, somebody shared with you.
Yeah, somebody, because if you come in with a blank canvas, the moment you come in, everybody starts to write on that canvas. Yeah. They write everything. They write prejudice, things on that canvas. They write racism on that canvas. They write,
their experiences.
They write their experiences. They even write their limitations on that canvas.
Opinions.
Yeah, their opinions. And if you never stop and say, but do I really believe that?
How many have you done that?
Right. Because if you've never stopped and said that, then you're basically living a life that somebody else lived because they wrote on your canvas. Mom, dad, brother, sister, teachers, environment, all of those things wrote on your canvas. And, I had to think about that one day, like, who am I really? You know what I'm saying? Am I just this product of programming from somebody else? And the answer for me was yes. So I had to go through different things and start to examine, like, do I really believe that? Because a lot of things, I think we question within ourselves, we just won't question without.
I like how you
like it's some
stuff I think in our head. We question something and then don't really do nothing with that question.
Because I've been around like friends and family that say certain things, and because it's normal, I'll just kind of nod to agree with it, but in my head I'm like, I don't know if I really feel like that, like, for real. But we'll stay with it because, again, it's stepping outside of that box. Not having to be like everything else. And that's another thing. That's a whole different topic. But I think that's another thing. Like, we live in a world where it's not easy to be 100% an individual.
Yeah, it's not, but we're living in a world but we have to be.
We have to be.
I'm fighting for that. What you saying there, and it goes right along. And I'm having to learn to let go of some things again that are no longer serving me. But we have to. It's either that we're at that choice. It seems now. Either you're gonna follow, or you're gonna lead you're gonna follow the masses, or lead your own way.
And the crazy part about that is, what do you do when you don't even know that you're following? Because a lot of people feel like I felt like I was an individual for a long time. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm me, bro. I'm me. You know what I mean? I would say that, like, I'm me. I do what I want to do. But then it was really rooted in, you do what somebody else has told you should be doing. You know what I mean? Impressed upon you. So we live that. So I think we have to embrace individuality and understand that we can coexist in a world where we all don't think the same. We all don't see the world the same. We all don't necessarily believe in the same things. That's a big one, because the thing I never understood about belief is that, to me, belief is personal, right? I mean, that's how I look at it today. It's personal. But a lot of times, most people, whatever they believe, it's not, to me, it seems like it's not rooted in them until they can gain some other people to come believe it with them.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I need you and you to see this too. You know what I'm saying?
That's the majority that needs that, everybody. And then you have a select few. They own it, they know. It went from belief to know. Like, I know this is what it is.
I'll share this. I hope nobody don't get mad at me. But and I won't say names, but some people draw conclusions. But I remember being downtown Atlanta. There was a group of brothers. They was on the corner and they were yelling at people about their belief. in whatever spiritual, whatever they believe.
Yeah.
And I mean, it wasn't just like I'm casually telling people, like they yelling at people, they aggressive about this thing, and I'm just like honest, I'm like, I'm like, what the hell?
It's a little powerful, but
I ain't said that, but see, he said that, y'all. Look for him as a male. I didn't say nothing. I said some brothers somewhere downtown Atlanta, man. I live a peaceful life. I want to keep it that way.
Same here.
But you know what I'm saying? But somebody gotta tell it. Somebody gotta tell it. But these brothers was getting angry with people because people wouldn't see their perspective and their belief. But what it said to me was that if you really gotta convince somebody else of it, how much do you really believe it? Because if it's rooted in you, and it resonates with you and it's serving you well, why do you care if I adopt it or not? Now, I'm not saying I'm going to disrespect it or I'm going to, tell you you're wrong,
right.
But why do I have to incorporate it into my life and agree with you? You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what we do a lot of times when it comes to belief and it comes to certain things. We need to get people to join us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if you don't have that level of joining, it's kind of like it sabotages what you say you believe. So yeah,
it does for some people.
For some people, yeah.
But you gotta have your own though. I mean, again, I'm in that place. You gotta own it for yourself now. Even when it comes to letting go, you gotta recognize that, and you gotta see things for what they are. I've had to see things for what they are and recognize if something was healthy for me or becoming toxic. Or if something was empowering me or disempowering me. Yeah. And I had to take a stance for that. So we have to take a stance for things on a daily basis.
Yeah.
That's what we got to do.
Yeah. Because everything, what may be empowering for me may not be empowering for you.
Yes, sir.
And vice versa.
Yes, sir.
I've told people some things that I do in the way I live, not because I want you to adopt it.
All right.
But just because we were having a conversation,
right.
Even in my coaching practice, and I hope clients will say this, like you paid me to tell you a perspective, but I'm not necessarily telling them to adopt the perspective. I'm just giving you a perspective on something you're dealing with, so that maybe you can see something else.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you have to take it and adopt it to your life. So a lot of times I look at it like, you gotta find what empowers you.
Yeah. But if it works, I was gonna say, but if it works,
yeah.
And like you said, if it empowers you, take it on.
Take it on. Because I mean, and you may not have to take on the whole thing. Like there's certain people that I like to listen to that I don't agree with everything they say.
Correct.
I don't adopt everything that they say.
Yes.
It may be 10% of what they said that it's like, wow, that was for me. I like that. That I can resonate with that. But I don't think that I need to adopt 100%.
Not all the time. It brings me to the saying that we used to hear early on when I was here in Atlanta. Excuse me, but chew the meat and spit out the bones. Spit out the bones when you listen. Listen to the message and don't focus so much on the messenger. Sometimes I'm a seeker of truth, so I think truth comes from many perspectives, people. You get truth in a lot of ways, and sometimes it may come from a source that may not look like
for sure,
and a credible source or what have you, but in that moment they can share some truth with you, and you can choose to take that or not.
Man, I've got truth from the dude standing on the corner. You know what I'm saying? I actually had a conversation with a guy standing on the corner one day when I was probably in my 20s. You know what I mean? And he was the person that caused me to question something that I eventually let go of.
Damn.
Not because he was trying to push me in one direction or another. He was just sharing some information. And because he was the dude, like you said, on the corner, it didn't seem like I was supposed to listen. But I listened, you know what I mean? And from what he said, I was like, dang, I never thought about that like that. And I started to question, well, why do I do that? Why do I move this way? Why do I zig instead of zag? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do I do that? Or why do I do that? And it made me question, because to me, everything is about reconstructing your mind to produce the things that you really desire.
Say that one more time. Come on.
Everything is about you reconstruct. Because to me, within you is the blueprint.
Yes.
So a lot of times we desire one thing, but the blueprint within is totally opposite.
Correct.
that doesn't go together. You know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't go together anywhere. Like, if you got an architect right now, and I'm far from an architect, so if anybody watching this, I'll verify it. But if you're an architect and you see a certain way you want to build a house, right?
Okay.
Or you want this house to look a certain way, but the blueprint within doesn't look like that, it's not going to come out the way it's supposed to, right? So the blueprint within, it's going to have to match what you put on paper in order to build.
Correct.
But a lot of times our blueprints are different. That goes back to letting go. So what's your goal right now? You know what I mean? Like, what's your goal? What do you want to do? If the blueprint within says, well, people like me don't really accomplish that, or people like me, we don't do that, or we don't, that blueprint, you got to let go of that in order to manifest that thing that you desire, because right now, what's internal doesn't go with what you're trying to produce externally. So
absolutely, that's
been my whole journey for a whole lot of years now. It's just kind of, whenever it is that I'm trying to accomplish something or I'm trying to change something, I immediately ask myself, okay, what's the blueprint within? And when I find a contradiction there, you know what I'm saying? When I find that contradiction, I start thinking about, okay, what do I need to let go of? Because whatever it is that's a contradiction, I got to let go of that, because that contradiction is going to keep me going in that same circle over and over.
And it makes me think of a word, alignment, and it's like it keeps you out of alignment to the blueprint, the true blueprint that you're looking to see come to pass. So
very true.
Letting go is also, you know, just bringing too, man. It's about alignment.
Yeah.
You know, bringing you in an alignment to your truest desires, your goal, your end result, or what have you.
Another way that I've explained that is like corresponding.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like corresponding. Like, do you properly correspond with what it is that you say you want? We gotta take a quick little pause. we take a quick little pause. But yeah, do you correspond with the things that you say you desire? Think about that for a second, because if you say you want this, but then everything within doesn't correspond with it, to me, you're a contradiction. I tell this funny story. I had a client one time, and one night I was on the phone with her, and she said, you know, RJ, this year I'm going to get my life together. She had some health issues. She had a lot of stuff going on. She said, I'm going to get my life together. I'm gonna change my diet. I'm gonna get these health issues together. We're talking on the phone. She said, wait, I'm sorry. Hold on one second, RJ. Yeah, let me get a number 6 with cheese. Let me get, and I'm like, dang.
I thought you just said.
You just had said, but that was the contradiction.
Yes.
But what it did for me personally, it pointed out to me that I live that every day. It helped me to change my own perspective, because I was just like, how many things do I want that I'm a direct contradiction to? You know what I mean? I want to be in shape. I ain't been to the gym in forever. Direct contradiction. I want to eat healthy. I just went to McDonald's. Direct contradiction. You know, I want to accomplish this goal, but I don't really think I can do it. Direct contradiction. So it's a lot of those things we gotta let go of. Yeah.
I like that piece. Oh man, that was awesome right there. So we all can relate to that somewhere in your life.
Not just lying. You know, not telling the truth. Because we all have been a contradiction. Or currently, I'm not saying I'm 100% not a contradiction today, because there's still things that I have to like stop and I have to catch myself like, oh, I want this to happen.
Correct.
But right now I'm laying on the couch. You know what I'm saying?
It's gonna be, but it's an ongoing process. I don't think it's gonna be a one day you're gonna just master this and never have to deal with it.
Not at all.
I mean, we're going to let go of things for life. You know, there's a time and a season for things. Some things are going to work for you, and then there's a season when it's not, and you have to let it go. Let it slide out of your life just as quick as it slid in.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And it, you know, that's what my shirt is about: success from the inside out. Like, I really believe that if you can let go of the things that aren't serving you well, if you can get that inner blueprint on the inside, to me, you can manifest anything that you want on the outside. You know, but I think a lot of times we do it the opposite way. We do it from the outside in, meaning that the inside is something totally different. And a lot of times we just think if we work really hard, we'll get it anyway. And I think working hard obviously will get you some results.
Yes.
You know, if you take an axe and you keep beating at a tree, I mean, eventually you're gonna knock the tree down. But my thing is that the way you want to go about it?
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Would you rather envision this thing and have the belief system and the thoughts and the thinking and the mindset and all of that lined up to where it should be, and you manifest it a little bit more with ease versus killing yourself?
Wow.
Yeah.
It made me think about being more intentional.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
You know, coming at this thing with more with an intention, a greater intent. And I think sometimes we're just doing stuff instead of being intentional.
That's what I always like, you know, no disrespect to any of the, you know, the gurus out there, but when I hear people talk about like sleep when you're dead, you know, can't stop, won't stop. I get it, don't get me wrong, because I like it, it's motivational, and it sounds good because I got a little pumped up by saying it, but at the same time, it's kind of like you'll kill yourself trying to like never stop, keep grinding. But all the while, what you're really doing is you're trying to make an external thing compensate from an internal dilemma.
Correct.
And from what I've seen so far, you know, I've never seen external things 100% fix internal things. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So if you're fearful, if you're negative, if you don't think outside the box, if you're holding on to a bunch of stuff that's not serving you well, your hard work externally is not going to fix that internal dilemma. It may seem like it because you're chopping down the tree and you're seeing wood come off and you're like, man, it's working. But at the end of the day, when you get tired of swinging, all of that internal stuff is still there.
Yeah.
You know,
it was intentionally directed at what it needs to be directed at. Yeah.
It's like people that tell me I'm stressed out, so I go to the gym. It's great till you have to leave.
Yeah.
Gym I'm only open for so long. You can only work out for so long. You know what I mean? So once you put the weights down and you walk out of the gym, what happens? The internal dilemmas are still there. Like, hey, we wait for you to finish. You know what I'm saying?
So we can
get right back on you. So you know, I think letting go is also a part of, you know, working on those internal dilemmas. You know what I'm saying? Not being afraid to really just look at. We got the sirens in the background. One second, they gone, but or maybe not. But you know, it's being able to look at those internal dilemmas and be honest with yourself. But here's the thing: to be honest with yourself, not beat yourself up about it.
Ooh, I like that point right there. That's amazing. So I want to chime in on that just for a second because I've been going through an amazing process of letting things go or confronting some things, but again, not making it mean so much. I think that's the thing that allows us to kind of either spiral down or not to be able to do the thing that we desire to do. You know, when we kind of let it weigh on us. And I know for a long period, I would kind of make things mean more than what they have to instead of just looking at it for what it is and then moving forward. And that's it. It's a practice. It's doable, but yeah, you hit on something.
Because you're not going to do anything if you make yourself feel bad. You know what I'm saying? And I used to do that. I was the kid.
Well, you can, but it may take forever.
It may take forever. Because it's like downing yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like I would look at the things that I was holding on to or that was holding me back, and then I would make myself feel bad for having those things in my life.
Correct.
And I wouldn't work on them because it was such a downer, and I was like, you know, I would be on myself versus just learning to identify those things and then saying, okay, you know what, I'm gonna come up with a plan. Okay. You know, if I realize that I'm always thinking safe or thinking in the box, or I'm afraid to take chances, or I'm afraid to take a risk, then let me keep that in the forefront. Let me not beat myself up, but let me keep it in the forefront of my mind so that I can work on it. So that when the next thing comes up or the next opportunity comes up, you know, and it costs X amount of dollars, I might have the money, but I'm like, I ain't giving y'all, you know, let me remind myself, hey, before you immediately run back to your box, examine this.
Old way of thinking.
Yeah, examine this old way of thinking. Examine if this is really a good opportunity, if this is really something you should be involved in, and if it is, then step out. You know what I'm saying? Push yourself a little bit to break past that in the box way of thinking, because the more you do something, the better you are at it, and the more you eventually change that habit.
Yes, sir.
So
it gets stronger.
get stronger.
It's my thing that I kind of been coining, but flexing. You flexing those muscles, whether it's mental, whether it's physical or spiritual.
Yeah.
But whenever you attack something continuously or stay committed to something, you're gonna get stronger. You're gonna develop confidence. Your willpower is gonna get stronger. So let's let go of some things in the positive. Let's let some things so we can be a better us, a better you. All right.
Confidence, man. I guess we're gonna let it go. But that confidence is a big one, though, man. Because
we all dealing with that. I'm dealing with that as well. I'm growing in that area as well.
And a lot of times I think we gotta let go of our insecurities. You know what I mean? Because life,
men.
That's like a whole. We gotta do a whole nother one on that. But life will make you extremely insecure. Because what we do in life that's very detrimental is we're always comparing ourselves to something else, to somebody else, to some other thing. And if you always compare yourself to something else, you're never going to be good enough.
Yeah.
Because no matter what you have right now, I can find better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Somebody once told me, if you can only see what's missing, nothing will ever be right. Think about that. If you can only see what's missing in your life, I don't care what you have. You have $1 million, a beach home, a Lamborghini. But if you see it like, man, you know what?
I got to think like that.
I got the 2018 Lamborghini. You know the 2020 is out and the 2021 is coming out real soon. If that's how you think, you're gonna always see something missing. The glass is gonna always be half empty.
Yes.
That's a detrimental way to live.
Yeah,
so
not the best way.
So the insecurities is something that, but you got to be honest with yourself about insecurity.
The word right there.
You know what I'm saying? And you
let it go, period. You got to be honest, period. But
Yeah.
that honesty, man, we got to just learn to be honest and integrity with who we are.
We need to do a whole thing on the insecurities of men.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a deep one.
Now that is.
That's a deep one. Because I don't even know how to start there, but men are like, to be a man, again, programming. You're told you're supposed to be this thing.
Yeah.
And technically it's a superhero. If you really look at, if I lined up a bunch of people and said, what is the definition of a man? Here are the words that's gonna come out: strong, secure, all of these macho,
confident,
superhero Wolverine type words. Yeah. But what happens to a man when you figure out that you're really not Wolverine, that you're not Batman, you're not Superman? I almost cursed, but that will cause some serious insecurities in your life. It's not understanding that none of that stuff, a lot of it isn't realistic in the first place.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. Yeah. Now we definitely should do one.
Yeah, we gotta do that. We might gotta get a panel. We need, what we need? We need a panel of men and a panel of women.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I think between men and women, there are certain things that have been programmed that aren't realistic.
Correct.
I remember having a client, she was mad at her husband because he couldn't fix the AC unit. And he said, I went to law school, I ain't go to HVAC.